Hey, what it is, what it do, people. It's your brother Joshua here, back again to report on some news. We're talking about House Bill 1020 of Jackson, Mississippi. Now, what this bill entails is just a handful of things, but I want to pinpoint three things. First thing I want to pinpoint, it takes the power out of the people's hands and it puts the power back into the state hands. So basically, there's no more right to vote, to elect officials by voting. It's only the head of chief of justice. He gets to handpick, select from judges, from police officers. He gets to handpick all of these things. Now, as far as the second thing it tells is, it's talking about putting capital city police over the regular police. So if you didn't know, capital city police, they're more like a military police from what I'm seeing, from what I've been researching. As the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, I want to say his name right, it's like Chakwe Antar Lambabwa. He says it's impressive because it puts military forces over people that has no accountability of them. It redirects their tax dollars to something that they don't believe in or they endorse. So I forgot to mention that they still have to pay tax, even though they don't have a right to vote. They still have to pay tax. Now, the person basically responsible, well, at least, I mean, it was the whole legislation that was responsible for this, but the person that was responsible basically for putting this through was State Republican Trey Lamar. He said the bill was basically to make them feel safe when they come to the Capitol. So, you know, whenever they come to the Capitol, they'll feel safe. Now, let me just remind you, people say, what is the problem with all this? Because, you know, if we look at the stats and we look at the statistics, we will see that 42 per 1,000 people, they have the highest rate in America, which is the second largest black city in America. 1 in 24, it's either a violent crime or it's either a property crime. So it's 1 in 24, you know. I said 2020, they had 128 killings, 2021, 155, 2022, 130 killings. Now, you know, that's just the numbers behind it. And you'll ask yourself, why is all this a problem? Like I said, Jackson, Mississippi is one of the second biggest blackest cities we got. There's an 82.5% population of all black people. So then this 82.5 population of all black people in Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson State. But now we gotta ask questions and we gotta wonder and we gotta literally sit here and we'll say, like, why is all this a problem if we got all this different type of, you know, things going on, like all this crime and all this, like maybe they need to take over and all this. Well, it's a couple things we have to talk about and a couple things we finna touch on. The first thing we're going to touch on is I believe it was, I want to get this brother name right. I don't want to say this brother name wrong when I'm going over this facts. Okay, and Jackson State, Mississippi also has the highest police killings of people. You know, they got 5, and when people are like, oh, 5 is not a lot. But like I said, you can't put a value on life. That's not something that you can just, you know what I'm saying? You can't just be, oh, 5 people, that's not a lot of people, and this, that, and the third. But let me tell you, you can't put no value on nobody's life. You ain't got no power over that. But let me get back to what I'm saying. In September 2022, the shooting of Jalen Lewis, it was by a Capital City police officer. Now, the thing about the Capital City police officers, when the city black leaders met with the officers about this matter, they said, quote, that they do not know how to police black people. They said, quote, that most of the Capital City police comes from prejudiced towns and places outside of Jackson, Mississippi. You know what I mean? And if you're not getting where I'm coming from, or you're not understanding, like, why do they even got to pay tax then? Like, why are they still getting 12% of their tax dollars got to go to y'all? If they don't give no right to say anything, they don't get the right to do it, to basically elect any officials. Y'all taking the judges and everything. All this is over the people. But the reason why they said they did this is because they wanted to feel safe, and there's so much backlogs. Now, that's funny that we're going to talk about backlogs, because backlogs, basically, it happens when they don't have enough we said is an accumulation of tasks and materials not processed. And basically they're saying like they need Republican Trey Lamar is basically saying that the judges and everybody is working extremely hard to get these things done. But we all know what that means. You know what I'm saying? They not working hard. We not going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of funny that they say this, and they passed this bill one day. Imagine one day, because if you go back, Jackson State, Mississippi has one of the oldest water systems in America, one of the oldest. So that's key importance, because I believe it was January 17th, just 2023. County officials told them to boil water. Basically to boil their water was coming out brown. I'm pretty sure we can all do research on this. This all happened in August 2022. This all happened, the water crisis. It's still been going on. It's still going to go on till August 2023. They said they can have it fixed. So they literally came out with this statement on January 17, 2023, to tell residents to boil your water, boil your brown water. But at the same time, not even a week later, they passed a bill taking the power out of the people's hands and putting the power into the white man's hands. Now, I'm not wanting to play victim. Like, we got some cleanup to do. Clearly, with all this crime and all this, I ain't playing victim. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just calling a spade a spade. But everything you know in America, you still have your local races and all these people that racism. But for the most part, all the lynching and all that, and from what we know, it's all gone. You know what I mean? But they still have acts of hate and acts of violence. The number one problem we have in America is called systematic racism. You know, it's things put in place, whether that's the school to prison pipeline and different type of things. All this is put in place basically as systematic racism. When you see the 5 brothers that just killed another brother, well, technically it was 6 officers. 5 of the police officers that was all black got charged. The 6th white officer didn't get charged. When you see things like that, that is called systematic racism. You know, when they put up their mugshots and they don't want them in police uniforms, they put them in regular street clothes just to try to disassociate themselves. It's all optics. It's all in the mind, what you see. But you got to know, these are police officers. They all rep the blue. I don't want no smoke with the cops. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we need to have at least some sort of healthy relationship to get certain stuff under control. You know what I mean? We need to have some type of relationship with these people. You know what I mean? It's not back in the day. It's not, oh, yeah, you talking to the cops, all this, that, and that. I just learned through the brother Charleston Wright that actually, in order to get whether rec centers or any type of state funding, we actually have to work with the police officers, because when we say take away the police budget, we're basically telling them that part of their budget goes to the community. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know this. I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? As much wild stuff as Charleston White said, and I respect that man, he's still dropping gems, and he still put that little bug in my ear. You know what I mean? But let's get back to what I was talking about. So they wouldn't reenact this. A week later, they passed this bill, 1020, to basically, like I said, stop the voting power, to appoint anybody they wanted to basically appoint. And on top of appointing anybody they wanted to appoint, they still 12% of all their tax still goes to pay for all these legislators and all this. So it's really quite, you know what I'm saying? We already know how this is. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? We know how this is. And I got some just certain things here that I want to talk about. And the only reason why I want to talk about this and it's just to point out the hypocrisy of this, okay? Jackson State, Mississippi, like I said, is 82.5 black residents in this place, you know? But we all know that there's much more violence going on in Chicago, You know, much more violence going on in Chicago. If we look at Chicago just itself, they have a 32.4 blacks, 31.7 whites, and 21.7 foreigners. Okay, that's in Chicago. Now, let me read off you some statistics. You know what I'm saying? In 2020, 1,343 people died. In 2021, 1,472 people died. And then, you know, still on pace. I mean, it's on pace to get lower. But, I mean, when you're still in the hundreds, way more than Jackson, Mississippi, way more. Like I said, they had 128, 155, and 130 from year 2020 to the year 2022. And even let's point out some more hypocrisy. The Great City Institute reported in 2019 that from 1980 to 2017, there was from 1,187,905 people in 1980 to 797,253 in 2017. Now, that's a 32.9 decrease in just the black population. Now, I ask you, and I say this, we all know the gang culture of that went on in Chicago and is still going on in Chicago. So when they do little things like, and they tell people in Chicago, they're gonna let you out if you're not in the risk of running away or you don't have violent crimes because of backlogs. But then in the same token, in Jackson, Mississippi, they will literally basically reinforce Jim Crow back again. You can't sit up here and tell me this is not racially motivated and agendaed. There's no way to even, these numbers is just crazy. Don't take my word for it. Like I always tell people, don't take my word for it. Go do your research about it. Don't listen to what I say. Go take your own time out your day and go do the research on it. But when you point out the hypocrisy of over all this, and you start wondering, you start saying like, why would they do this? Like, you know what I mean? And from what people were saying when they was voting this bill, and the black legislators is trying to speak out against this bill, basically saying how racist and just the type of things that it carries. Even Republican Lamar, he was on his phone texting. He wasn't listening to people. These people got up and walked out when the black folks went to go speak about not passing this bill through. They didn't want to hear it, just to come back in and then say yes to pass it through. So I say to you, and I come to you and I say, like, this is all racially motivated. You can't tell me this is the same old type of tactic where you feel like uncivilized black people need white people to get them civilized. Now, like I said, I don't like playing no race card. I don't like playing a victim role. I ain't one of them people. You know what I'm saying? I personally feel like we need to get our shit together. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language. We need to get our stuff together. I'm not finna sit here and be like, oh yeah, we have no problem in our community. Yeah, yes we do. But to say that the right course of action will basically be, we're gonna take all the power, and we know how Mississippi, that's the South. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like racism is still not alive and born in there, like, man, I get it, but Chicago, with all these killings of homicides by assault that they got, compared to Jackson State, Mississippi, man, this is a load of BS, man. Like, we got to be real and just come to the porch and say it. And it's funny about, like I said, what's his name? State Republican Trey Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Because back in his day, his grandfather was actually on the same seat he's on. And his grandfather introduced a bill basically to tighten the residency requirements to go to college in 1962 by saying that you had to have 12 months to stay in the States before you can even attend the college. You know, and the newspapers printed. Look it up look it up. Don't take my word for it. Just go look it up. The newspapers comes out and says, bill stops black men from going to college, you know, and this is in 1962. Like, imagine what type of stuff you had to deal with, and you still was an educated brother and you wanted to go to college. Now that tells a lot about how Republican Trey Lamar was brought up. You know what I'm saying? That you can't tell me he ain't got the apple didn't fall far from the tree, because clearly he got goddamn caught that apple and bit it like Eve did in the book, you know what I'm saying, in that big great book. But we don't want to get into all that. So I just come to you today and just to point out the hypocrisy, to tell you, man, like, my people, we need to get it together. You know what I mean? They gonna use the system against us as they keep doing it, as they've been doing. We know what they use against us. We have no reason to keep letting certain things go on. Like, I understand all blah, 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 blah. Listen, all that street stuff, all that, man, hey, get it out the window, gang. Like I said, if you want to be a street dude, don't bring everybody down with you, because, you know what I'm saying, one bad apple gonna spoil the bunch. You feel me? And I'm not a person that I want to talk down on my people. Like I said, I want to uplift you. I want to point out the hypocrisy that's going on in America. But I also want to be transparent enough to know that I know we have a problem. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we probably can't save everybody, but as long as we doing our effort to save people and help people out and as best as we can, then by God means, I feel like that's if God allow it to save everybody, then let's do it. But if we're not able to save everybody, then please let us save some people, man. And I don't want to keep on getting on here and harp and letting this video roll on. But I will say, man, I'm just gonna end this off. That Jackson State, Mississippi, the legislator, the chief of police, all y'all take a L. Y'all take a L. And we see what type of things y'all doing. You know what I mean? Y'all won't fix the water. You know what I'm saying? But a week later, we got y'all. We gonna pass this bill to take every right that y'all got to even vote for who the hell is sentencing y'all people to jail. And people that don't care nothing about y'all. Don't care nothing about y'all. This Mississippi we talking about. The capital city police, they don't come from Jackson State. They don't come from there. They come from around Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? They come from all the other towns around to that. Just remember that and put in your head, man. I'm Brother Joshua here again, just giving you some news. Peace, love, positivity. Always spread love. 2 up, 2 down. Maybe you need a little negativity just to sprinkle in with it, because everything ain't all great. In the name of God, we love you. Y'all have a good day.